Whose drink is this?
It's a safety.
Oh.
Yeah.
You're doing a bang up job, Dave. Next time, bring a drum and cymbal. As mentioned, my name is Chris Bennett. I graduated in 1997. I was privileged enough to be a student of Dr. Dailey's, student assistant, any number of other things. He once asked me to hang drywall in his home on the college's dime, back when he was in college. With me is my friend Bret. He graduated in 1995. Through the privilege of having many of the same classes and many of the same teachers, we came to be close. Our children play. I married his ex-girlfriend. That's not a joke. She's sitting back there. And she now wants to hurt me. We approached this with the same vigor and aplomb with which we did Dr. Dailey's classes, which is to say we didn't prepare a damn thing.
Neither did you.
I once recall running into Dr. Dailey at Discount Liquor when each of us was supposed to be in news writing and reporting. These are the public stories. The private could be far worse. Like it said, what happens in the Barstow building stays in the Barstow building. Bret and I hold a rather unique position, I would like to say. Potentially.
Oh, that's true, yeah.
We do. In Dr. Dailey's teaching career, both of us realizing that our resumes were extremely sparse as we neared graduation, decided that we needed to do what communication professionals do well, and lie.
We prefer to call it bullshit.
Dude, there's kids here. In the spring of 1995, Bret and I created a campus organization out of thin air for the sole purpose of padding our resumes.
A campus organization that never really existed.
Honestly, it did not. It existed in our heads. We conned some people into being into it. We named it the Carroll College Raconteur Society. I'm not making this up. The raconteurs would certainly do that. We set up a structure. We set up a form of governance. We came up with all these elaborate rules, and we thought, hey, won't it be funny if we get Dr. Dailey to be our student advisor?
They asked us for a student advisor, and we thought, who better?
Right. I mean, if you want somebody to spin a yarn, who better? Oddly enough, I mean, in our 21, 22-year-old haze of life, we started taking this quasi-seriously, and we filled out the papers, and we contacted the administration, and we went along with the joke. At some point in time, though, it ceased to be a joke because Dr. Dailey actually had to start doing work that made us legitimate. We thought it would be funny if we could get the college to give us funding for this. Mind you, we had no idea what we might do with this funding. We just thought it would be fun to have money at our disposal. Looking back on this now, it was little more than a vessel for graft, scandal, and corruption. But I went into journalism, so connect the dots. And he's a farmer. In any case,
That's true. I'm the epic man.
Unfortunately, the joke came to a screeching halt when Dr. Dailey cornered the two of us one day and basically said, listen, this is getting serious.
I have to go to these damn meetings.
Yeah.
What are you guys going to do? We said, well, we had really planned beyond this. We were just hoping to get college funding. It seems like they're going to give it to us, but now we have to actually do some work, so it sort of died on the vine there, I think.
It really did, because frankly, college pranks are no longer funny when they're not college pranks. When the real world injects its ugly head, you have to stop. And I would be remiss if I stood up here and just made fun of Dr. Dailey. I've told him on any number of occasions that he is the reason I have everything that I do in life. I'm embarrassingly blessed, as is Bret, for all of the glib chatter that we've thrust upon you for these few minutes. You were the college daddy I needed at a time when I sorely needed it. The best phone call I ever got from you was about a month into my senior year, when I was supposed to be your student assistant and quite pointedly ignored those duties. And the message that you left me involved your foot and parts of it involved your foot and parts of me best left.
I have to say my favorite Chris Bennett quote, and I was standing in Dr. Dailey's office, and I have to clarify something Barb said.
This isn't going to go well.
Barb said Joe's door was always open. I think that's because it was physically incapable. Chris was smarting off to Joe, as was common. And Joe looked at me and he said, "Do you see how he talks to me? I have authority over this kid." And Chris said, "Well, authority is only valid when it's recognized." And I thought no truer words ever stated. But I don't know that. I tell people that Joe was my advisor. I don't know that he would ever claim that. The best story that Joe tells about me is being a young budding journalism student in an internship, and I know he wants me to tell this. I went to I was interning for the Milwaukee Sentinel back when the Journal and the Sentinel were two different papers, and so the Sentinel was a morning paper and the Journal was an afternoon paper. So if you went to any kind of night meeting with the Sentinel, you had an opportunity to, if any big news came up, you had an opportunity to scoop the Journal, which back then was a big deal. The Sentinel and the Journal were very competitive. And I attended a Waukesha Common Council meeting, and my assignment was to cover some, I don't know, it was some, the local government beat was lost on me as a journalism student. But it was some minor issue, and they glossed over it in the agenda, and I had a deadline at 10 o'clock, and I called in my 3 paragraphs. And, it didn't seem like anything was going to happen beyond that, and I had to go, so I left. And it was about 10 minutes after I left that Paul Varakis announced that he was no longer going to be running for mayor of Waukesha, which was a long-standing mayor of Waukesha. And the next morning, the Sentinel editor called me in my dorm room and said, "Did you happen to be at the meeting when Paul announced that he was no longer going to be mayor?" I said, "No, I didn't." So, I'm the JoeDailey's journalism teaching career, and he never ceases to tell us. I feel proud that I provided the students for a band.
I earned a D in news writing and reporting. Thank you, all of you, for being here. Dr. Dailey, thank you for everything. To the titans of the communication department, Emeritus, Dailey, I don't know what to say anymore. And I'm not saying that to be glib. There's so much that could be said, and it would fill volumes at this point. Thank you, each of you, for everything. If you could ever know the number of lives you've touched, you'd probably be scared.